the psychology of doing nothing. Do you have these massive, life-changing dreams? I mean, have you spent hours, maybe even days or weeks, crafting the absolute perfect, pristine, step-by-step plan? Yet when it actually comes time to execute it, you just find yourself sitting there, staring at the wall, and doing absolutely nothing to start. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today we're decoding the hidden psychological patterns that are keeping your brilliant mind completely stuck in neutral.
Seriously, think about it. You know exactly what needs to be done. You've got the tools, you've got the vision, you've probably even color-coded the spreadsheet and, completely optimized your desk layout. But instead of moving forward, you just feel stuck in park, endlessly revving the engine without ever taking your foot off the brake. Okay, let's dive into this, because what's actually happening inside your head right now is fascinating. First off, I really need you to hear this loud and clear. Stop beating yourself up. Because the absolute truth is, you are not lazy. What psychology actually tells us is that you're likely dealing with an addiction. It's an addiction to what we call the dopamine of potential. See, your brain strongly prefers the warm, safe fantasy of who you could be, simply because it allows you to completely avoid the uncomfortable, slow, and honestly, pretty boring effort of reality. The fantasy, that's instant. But reality requires work. And right here is where the trap snaps shut. The biggest reason you're stuck is that your brain literally confuses thinking with actual progress. When you sit there imagining your incredible success, your brain honestly can't tell the difference between the thought and the action itself. Now, what's really interesting about this is the biological feedback loop it creates. You imagine the success, right? Then your brain releases these little hits of dopamine. Suddenly, you feel this false sense of achievement, almost like you've already made headway. And the result? It entirely kills your urgency to act. Your mind has literally already tasted the reward without actually doing any of the hard work. But if we peel back that layer of so-called motivation and planning, we find something much darker hiding right underneath it: a fear of failure. You stay in the planning phase because honestly, as long as you don't actually try, well, your dream remains perfect. And more importantly, your self-image stays perfectly safe from the harsh judgment of reality. This often manifests as cognitive reflection. You start questioning your very first instincts. You think deeply about every possible outcome, every single step, and literally every potential mistake you could possibly make. And hey, while this absolutely shows that you have high intelligence, it comes with a severe hidden cost to your mental energy. It throws you right into the exhaustion cycle. You do a deep analysis of every detail. You constantly question the outcomes. Your mental energy rapidly drains away, and boom, you're doing absolutely nothing due to total mental exhaustion. By the time you're actually supposed to take that very first step, your brain has already run a marathon. You're tired before you even begin. Okay, let's shift gears for a second, because we really have to ask a much deeper question here. Forget the plan for a moment. Who do you secretly think you are? So the crucial point is, this brings us to an identity goal mismatch. This is your brain's natural, hardwired resistance to taking any actions that don't perfectly align with how you secretly view yourself deep down inside. If you secretly believe that you're just not a disciplined person, or that you're someone who never finishes what they start, your mind will actively work against you to keep you right there in that comfort zone. Taking action requires you to become someone different. And to your brain, that change feels like a literal threat to your psychological safety. So how do we actually break out of this? How do we defeat this trap? Well, you have to aggressively shift your focus. We have to move from consumption, just sitting there watching and planning, into creation, where you are actively shaping the world around you. The absolute first step to doing this is to just drop the illusion. Stop waiting to feel ready. That magical, perfect moment you're waiting for, it's a total myth. It's never going to arrive. You have to shut out the constant noise of external stimulation and endless information gathering. Because psychology reveals a pretty profound truth here. Readiness often comes after action, not before it. And this brilliantly illustrates what's known as the incubation effect. Your best ideas, your clearest thoughts, and that actual tangible feeling of being truly ready, they only surface once you finally step into the arena. They appear when you start physically shaping the world, rather than just safely watching it from the sidelines. Now, if everything we just talked about felt maybe a little uncomfortably accurate to your life, I want you to just take a deep breath. You are not broken. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Your nervous system is simply practicing selective organization. It's just doing what it was designed to do, prioritizing its energy by putting it into the total safety of thinking rather than exposing you to the vulnerable risk of doing. It is literally just a pattern. And once you can actually see the pattern, well, you hold the power to break it. The blueprint of your mind is laid out right in front of you. The trap is officially exposed. So the only question left is this: will you stop blaming yourself and finally start moving toward the life you've been dreaming about? The next move is entirely yours.